10 unexplained historical artifacts that puzzled archaeologists. The Voynich manuscript, a mysterious medieval book written in an unknown script and language. The Piri Reis map, a 16th century map showing accurate coastal details of Antarctica, a continent supposedly undiscovered at the time. The Shroud of Turin, a cloth bearing the image of a crucified man, debated to be the burial shroud of Jesus. The Giants of Monte Prima, sculptures of giant-sized warriors discovered in Sardinia, their origins and purpose unknown. The Crystal Skulls, mysterious quartz skulls of alleged ancient origin with unknown purpose and craftsmanship. The Baghdad Battery, a set of artifacts resembling ancient batteries discovered in Iraq. The Copper Scroll, a Dead Sea Scroll describing the hidden locations of valuable treasures yet to be fully deciphered. The King List, a Sumerian document listing kings who ruled before the flood, raising questions about ancient history. The London Hammer, a modern-looking hammer found embedded in a rock that dates back millions of years. The Nebra Sky Disk.
So in Syria, there's a site called Ain Dara. Not only is it unlike anything else in that region, but before we were able to even study it, the Turkish government destroyed it in 2018 as an accident, they state. Now, what's so crazy about this place is that when they first discovered it, they found this multi-ton massive basalt lion. They realized that the entire temple was built out of basalt. And as far as they know, there's very few places in the world that you can even see that, because basalt is so hard. It's such a hard material to work with, but it mimics the same use of basalt that we find at the Lake Von Ararat civilization. With Kavis Tepe and Kef Kalesi, they only use basalt there. So it's interesting that we're finding the same lion depictions and the same depictions from that region all of a sudden that we are here, showing you evidence of the way they went. Basically, if you imagine that these sons and these sages, these creators of these civilizations are creating something and then moving on.
How did ancient man create such amazing objects from diorite, only using copper and wood? Diorite is a relatively rare, very hard stone that is used as a base material in the construction of roads, buildings, and park areas. It ranks 6 on the Mohs hardness scale. This means that you would need a harder material to cut or carve this stone. These vases, statues, and figurines are all over 5,000 years old. Scientists believe that ancient man used an assembly line to mass produce many different items. Researchers tried to replicate one of the vases using the tools that they believed ancient man used. After 6 months of arduous work, this is what they got. Their hypothesis probably needs some adjusting. Like, subscribe, and follow.
Five of the most controversial archaeological artifacts. The London Hammer is confusing because it's inside a rock. The rock dates back to the Cretaceous period. Some believe the hammer is as old as the rock. The Klerksdorp spheres. These metallic spheres are estimated to be 2.8 billion years old, and some believe that they are proof of an ancient civilization long before us. Chinese sword in North America. It was a Chinese sword carved from jade dating back to 3,000 years ago. It is an indication that perhaps the ancient Chinese made it to the Americas long before Columbus. The Kozo artifact. This spark plug-like object believed to be around 500,000 years old. The problem is that spark plugs weren't invented until the 19th century. The Lanzhou stone. It's a stone discovered in China that contains a threaded metal bar. It could be evidence of advanced ancient technology. And subscribe for more.
This is considered the most mysterious artifact in the world. Nobody knows who made it or how it was made or when it was made. Perfectly made in 2 pieces. They separated the jaw. The mold lines line up from the top to the bottom. It has lenses and prisms that are built inside of it. If they're inside of it, who put them inside? Because to do that, it would take 0 gravity. If you put a light underneath it, then the light comes up with that 90 degrees turn and shoots out the eyes. It's piezoelectric quartz. It's the same kind of quartz they make computer chips out of. With the technology that they've come up with now, they're able to store light bits of information. When you store them in crystal, they'll be there forever. There's more to our history than we know.
The oldest thing ever discovered, with origins attached to Earth, the zircon crystals. They were discovered in Australia's Jack Hills. Many top researchers have dated the crystals to around 4.375 billion years old, being created only 165 million years after the Earth was formed. Yeah, they look all beautiful, but don't be pulled into buying them unless you have a microscope, because they aren't visible by the naked eye. Moving way forward, the oldest mask ever discovered. Of course, masks were made long before this one, but being made from wood, they're long decomposed. These masks are 9,000 years old, and they took nearly 10 years from carbon dating by experts to determine these masks' authenticity. There are plenty of them, but sadly, they're in the hands of private collectors. The oldest pair of socks, though, you can see in a museum. They're made of Egyptian wool, and if you can't tell, they were specifically made for wearing with sandals. But the oldest shoes discovered are 5,500 years old, made of cowhide. They were preserved when a sheep pooped on them, leaving it in great condition. This is just the right shoe. If the sheep would have pooped a little bit to the left, we could have both of them, but I guess one is good enough. And lastly, the oldest sculpture of a human, or at least, a human-like form. Found in Germany in 2008, it dates back to around 35,000 to 40,000 years old.
Artifact Porn, Part 2. This incredibly detailed sculpture was created by Antonio Caradini in 1752. It's a depiction of his mother wearing a weightless veil and was carved completely from a block of marble. The incredible dental work on this 4,000-year-old Egyptian mummy shows how advanced they were in the field of dentistry. These taxidermied frogs were found inside of an old French mansion that had been sealed for more than 100 years. It took Italian archaeologist Italo Gismondi 36 years to build this insanely accurate scale model of ancient Rome. This is a photo of archaeologists uncovering a mosaic in Turkey that remained untouched for 2,000 years. These handprints can be found on the walls of Pedikir Cave in Indonesia. This artwork is estimated to be roughly 40,000 years old.
Mati! 逃したか。